Welcome back to Neighborhood Duelists. In today's video, I'm going to be presenting you with my Scareclaw Kashira deck that I took to locals last night. I won second place with this, and I really like how this turned out. Without further ado, let me get straight on to the build. I run 3 copies of Scareclaw Rykart. This card has the ability that if it's you can special summon this card from your hand to a main monster zone that is adjacent to a Scareclaw monster or in the same column. You can only special summon it once per turn that way. But if this card is normal special summon, you can add 1 Scareclaw spell or trap from your deck to your hand. And if there are 3 more monsters in defense, you can draw a card. So it's good to also get some extra cards out. I only run 2 copies of Visa Starfrost. And this card is, if it's in your hand, you can target one monster you control with a different type and attribute, destroy that monster, and then special summon this card. And also, when this card destroys a monster by battle, this card can gain the attack equal to half the original attack or defense your choice of tide. Plus, he's a level 6 tuner. That comes in handy for my level 10 synchros. I run 2 copies of Visa Samsara. If this card's in your hand, you can take any Visa's monster that is on your field, hand, graveyard, or banished, shuffle it back into your deck, and special summon this card. And for every Visa's monsters you've shuffled back to your deck, he gains an additional 400 attack on top of it. And he could also be used as a non-tuner for a synchro summoning. And now for the big spice. I run 3 Kashira Fenders, which has the effect that if you control no monsters, you can special summon this card from your hand. Once per turn during your main phase, you can add a Kashira monster from your deck to your hand. And if this card battles, or if your opponent activates a monster effect, you can banish one card on the field, one monster on the field face down. I also run 3 copies of Kashira Unicorn, which has the same effect of Kashira Fenrir. It can be special summoned from hand if there's no monsters in the field. This card during the main phase, you can add a Kashira spell or trap from your deck to your hand. Oh no, just Kashira spell. Kashira spell from your hand. And also has the same effect that if this card battles or if your opponent activates a monster or effect, that you can target one monster in their extra monster zone, and banish it face down. I run 3 copies of Scareclaw Kashira, which has the effect that it can be special summoned from hand by banishing a Kashira or Scareclaw card from your hand or graveyard. And this card can attack while in defense. So it's also good because it won't lose any life points if he gets attacked in defense. 3 copies of Kashira Riseheart, which has the effect that if you control a Kashira monster, you can special summon this card from your hand. During the main phase, you could send 1 Kashira monster from your deck, banish the top 3 cards of your opponent's deck face down, and then he'll become a level 7. Comes in handy for an additional summoning if you don't have Kashira Birth on the field. And that's it for the main monsters. Now for the hand traps, 3 Shifters, and 3 Ash Blossoms, and 3 Infinite Impermanences. Next to the spells, I only run 1 copy of Permanent Planet Ricphobia because since it has Kashira support in it, I'm not really trying to run all Scareclaw monsters, so I only need 1 copy just so I can get out a copy of Scareclaw Kashira or Visa Starfrost if I need to. Has the effect that if 3 or more defense position monsters are on the field, I can target 1 card the opponent controls and destroy it. And you can only activate that effect once per turn, and it can only activate 1 field spell once per turn. I also run 3 copies of Scareclaw Arrival. Just has the effect that you can target 1 Scareclaw monster or Visa Starfrost in the graveyard, special summon defense position. And if a Scareclaw Link monster you control will be destroyed by battle or card effect, they can banish this card from the graveyard instead. 1 Scareclaw Straddle has the effect that you can target 1 Scareclaw monster or Visa Starfrost in your monster zone, 1 face-up monster your opponent controls. Your monster gains the attack and defense equal to your opponent's monster's attack or defense, whichever is higher. Or, when a card or effect is activated that targets a Scareclaw monster or Visa Starfrost you control, you can negate the effect. Honestly, I'm thinking about bumping that up to 2, just in case. Next, I run 2 copies of Kashira at Birth. Just in case if one gets destroyed, I'll have a second copy. The lingering effect is that I can normal summon a level 7 monster without tributing. During the main phase, I could special summon one of my non-XYZ Kashira monsters that is banished or in the graveyard. And if an opponent activates a spell or effect while I control a Kashira monster, I can target 3 cards in the opponent's graveyard and banish them face down. Also, 1 Rhoda, so that way I can also search for Scareclaw Reinhardt to start off with my Link monster to get into my other Scareclaw monsters if I need to. 1 Triple Tactics Talent, just to have in case if I can activate it, if your opponent activates a card effect while I'm on my turn. And 1 Called By, which came in handy last night against Voice's Voice. And then for the traps, I won 1 Scareclaw Splash. Once per turn, you can target 1 Scareclaw monster or Visa Starfrost you control. It can attack while in face-up defense position. If it does, apply the attack and defense whichever is higher for the damage calculation. When your opponent activates a card or effect while you control a Scareclaw monster in the extra monster zone, you can send this face-up card to the graveyard and negate the effect. And then 1 Kashira Preparations. During either player's turn, you can special summon one of your Kashira monsters that is banished or in your hand. If your opponent activates a trap card or effect while you control a Kashira monster, and while this card's already face up on the field, you can look at your opponent's hand. If you do, banish 1 card from it face down. That is it for the main deck. Now time for the extra deck. I won 1 Scareclaw Lightheart, which has the effect that when this card is link summoned, you can add 1 Permanent Planet Rectopia from your deck to your hand. And if you control a Visa Starfrost, you can special summon this card from your graveyard, and you can only activate that effect once per turn. Once per duel, actually. Yeah, once per duel. Dang. Oh, I haven't had to actually use that effect, so I guess that's not really hurting me too much. I use that just to get out the field spell. Run 1 copy of IP Masquerena. Of course, this says during your opponent's main phase, you can quick effect. Immediately after this effect resolves, link summon 1 link monster using monsters you control, including this card. You can use the effect once per turn. A link monster that's used with this card's material cannot be destroyed by opponent's card effects. 1 Scareclaw Tryhard has the effect that all monsters go into defense position, and he is unaffected by monsters' effects that are in defense position. And the other part, really, it doesn't really concern me too much because I don't run the level 3 Scareclaw monsters, so I'm not even going to worry about reading that part. 1 Blacklisted Soldier of Chaos has the effect that it cannot be destroyed by battle card effects if you use a level 7 monster as material. And if this card destroys the opponent's monster, you can activate one of its effects, gain 1,500 more attack on top of it, attack twice, or banish 1 card on the field. That actually was what won me my last duel last night. And then 1 Access Code Talker has the effect that cannot be negated, that you can target 1 link monster in your graveyard. This card gains attack up to the number of link materials times 1,000. And you can banish 1 link card from your graveyard and destroy 1 card in the field. Then 1 Vicious Astrolabe. This card can be special summoned from my extra deck by banishing the above cards as material from the hand or field. On a field or graveyard, cannot be destroyed by battle. This card is special summon. I can target 1 monster on the field, destroy it, and if I do, this card gains attack equal to half of that monster's original attack or defense, whichever one's higher. For time duels, I run 1 Scarlet Red Dragon Archfiend, which has the effect that this card becomes Red Dragon Archfiend while it's in the field or in the graveyard. Once per turn, you can destroy as many monsters, special summon effect monsters on the field as possible, and with an attack less than or equal to this card, and then burn 500 points of damage for every card to your opponent. I didn't get a chance to use this effect. I actually was originally running Borlo Savage Dragon because of my Link monsters, but I haven't ever had a chance to get that out because my Link monsters usually don't leave the field. So I changed them in for that, one of these days I will use the effect and I will not complain if it's what wins me a match. Of course, one Bear on the Floor, which has the effect that once per turn, you can target one card in the field, destroy it, and if your opponent activates a card or effect, quick effect, negate that, and destroy that. And then for the banishing, I run one Sorcerer Supreme Server in Shengeng. Has the effect that for each banished card, this card gains attack and defense by 100, and monsters your opponent controls lose 100 attack and defense. If this card be destroyed by card effect, you can banish one card from your graveyard instead. If a card is banished during the damage step, except for during the damage step, you can banish one card each from your opponent's field and graveyard, which will also help you continue to climb up for more attack and lower your opponent's monsters by attack and defense. Now on for the Link monsters, I run 2 Shangri-Las. Comes in handy in case if you need to lock out your opponent's zones. This is usually the first card that I go into if I don't go into Scareclaw Lightheart. During either player's standby phase, you can special summon a Kashira monster from your deck. And if you banish a card face down because of a Kashira monster's effect, you can lock out a monster zone. And if you have 2 in the field, then that means they can both go off, which means that's 2 zones locked up. And if he is destroyed by about a card effect, you can detach material from it instead. One number 11 Big Eye. Once per turn, you can attach one material from this card. Target one monster your opponent controls. Take control of that monster, but this card cannot attack the turn this card is activated. One Dark Arm Dragon, the Dragon of Annihilation. Once per turn, if you have exactly 5 dark monsters in your graveyard, you can also XYZ summon this card by using one level 5 or higher Dark Dragon monster you control. You can attach one material from this card, then target one card your opponent controls, destroy it, then banish one card from my graveyard. One Red Eyes Flare Metal Dragon, which is also what I want to use against a time duel, because it has a lingering effect and cannot be destroyed by card effects while it has material. While this card has material, each time your opponent activates a card or effect, inflict 500 damage to your opponent immediately after it resolves. The other effect doesn't apply to this deck because I don't run Red Eyes Black Dragon. And then, of course, one Zeus for board wipe. Alright, well, that's it for the main deck. I would do a test hand today, but I'm actually on a very time schedule today. So next time, I promise I will show how this deck works. Until then, please like, subscribe, follow for more content, and let me know down in the comment section below if you would play this deck. Until then, have a great day.